Today I'm like a chef in the kitchen of technology. In today's video I'm going to share my favourite tech flavours as well as the ones that turned out to be a recipe for disaster. Well, it's coming up to the end of another year and I've been looking back at all the tech I've acquired over the last 12 months. I wanted to take the opportunity to share my favourite tech items that I picked up this year that I genuinely use every day, as well as a handful of things that I bought that I would 100% not recommend. Now, I've done my best here to cover a range of budget to premium options, although being tech focused, these do have a tendency to veer towards more premium stuff. And it goes without saying, you generally get what you pay for. There are a few exceptions here though. Oh, and I have worked with a few of these brands to get you some exclusive discount codes, which I'll link down in the description if you're interested in adding any of these to your collection. Now, these first two recommendations are at either end of the budget spectrum. Now, I made a full video earlier this year about a big overhaul I made to my desk setup, and since then I've made a few additions as I've tweaked things here and there. Now, firstly, we have this laptop dock from Astrono. Now, this is a beautifully designed bit of kit. These come in lots of different configurations depending on your MacBook model, but the general idea is that you connect up your peripherals to this side here, like your monitor, your USB dock, and maybe a power lead if you've got one of these MagSafe MacBooks, and then whenever you need to work at a desk setup, you just slide in your MacBook and it automatically connects to all these ports and you're off and away. It's all perfectly lined up too, so you don't get that issue of scrambling around to get things connected if you've got your laptop down the side of a desk or maybe sat on a stand, for instance. Plus, it's color matched in this alloy, so you get this nice consistency when your laptop is sat here in the dock. It's one of those really lovely bits of engineering. You just don't need to worry about it ever. It just works. And it also keeps my laptop out of the way, freeing up more space here on my desk shelf. So next up we have this little camera mount. Now, the downside of having my laptop in clamshell mode like this is that I never have access to a webcam for online meetings and such. And the monitor I use doesn't have an integrated webcam. Although, let's be honest, most integrated webcams these days are utter garbage. But I've got a bit of an ace in the hole. Apple's continuity camera feature allows you to use the camera on your phone wirelessly, and it works flawlessly on almost every app. Well, except Microsoft Teams. But as we all know, Teams is absolute anyway. I'll come back to the phone again, but just for now, this is the best webcam that you can buy that you can hold in your hand, and I will fight anyone who wants to disagree with me down in the comments. And I can attach it to pretty much whatever I want with this nice chunky mount from Sodi. Now, it can stand up by itself here on the desk shelf, or I can clip it to the monitor for a different view, or maybe even switch to a top-down view if I want to do any illustrative stuff in meetings. It's absolutely solid as a rock, and it's less than $30. Can't really go wrong there. So back to the phone, and this year I upgraded to the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and I'm going to make a full long-term review of this one, but crikey, this is a great phone if you don't mind the size. The camera is just brilliant. Now, I've touched on using it as a webcam, but the latest version unlocked log recording, which for anyone wanting to take filmmaking on a phone seriously means you have total control over the footage and you get a nice flat color profile out of the camera, which means you can then grade it beautifully. Now, for me, this really has emphasized the pro labeling of this phone, and I'm happy to see such a big differentiator from the other iPhone models now freely available. By the way, if you're looking to upgrade this year and you don't need things like a camera with pro features or a super bright screen, the standard edition iPhone 15 is a huge upgrade, which I reckon 90% of people would be delighted with. Just make sure you put a case on it. Oh, that reminds me, I've not actually opened my advent calendar yet today. I wonder what's behind today's window. 'Twas the night before Christmas, all calm on the roofs. Santa was ready, his movements so smooth. He reached for his phone in the cold winter air, but oh, a slip, a drop, despair. Down it fell from the rooftop so high, smashing to pieces under the moonlit sky. Alas, Santa thought with a sigh of regret, I should have bought a Casekoo case, and yet the Cloudcush edition, so sleek and so fine, would have saved my phone at this crucial time. No calls to the elves, no GPS for this flight, a sad turn of events in this cold winter night. Had he used a Cloudcush case, he moaned, with its air cushion tech like an airbag for your phone, it would have survived drops from 3 meters or more, an adjustable stand with angles galore, MagSafe compatible, charging with ease, light to hold like a feather in the breeze, a gift so perfect in this beautiful box, ensuring no more phone drops on the rocks, a lesson learned in the winter air's rush. Next time I'll keep things safe with my Christmas Cloudcush. Sorry, that was a bit strange. Anyway, I would definitely recommend getting a case on your phone, and you'll definitely enjoy this limited edition one from Casekoo. Elsewhere, the other big change on my desk setup is up here on the wall, where I've got all my keyboards mounted and looking down on me, kind of threateningly. I've acquired quite a lot of keyboards this year, and that is speaking as someone with a pretty unhealthy keyboard habit. For everyday administrative style typing, you can't go wrong with one of these low profile options from Lowfree, Newfie or Keychron, but my absolute favourite keyboard I've used this year? It's gotta be the Mojo 84 from Melgeek. I just love it. The way the keys feel and the creamy sound from those kale box plastic switches onto the quirky looks and see-through elements. I could go on. If I've got to sit down and write anything at length, you can bet I'm going to be doing it on this. It's not cheap mind or portable for that matter, but it is just lovely to use. So elsewhere, I've got a little tinkering area set up for filming unboxing and just generally making simple repairs and such. And I recently acquired this superb little electric screwdriver set from Hoto. It's an all-in-one solution for precision work when you're working with gadgets, and it has a clever array of integrations such as an integrated magnetizer and demagnetizer, plus a built-in charger that means you don't have to take the screwdriver out of its case when it runs out of juice. I've been looking online at some of their other items which have got a very similar design aesthetic, and I imagine this time next year you might spot a few more Hoto items creeping into my setup. I could probably make a whole video on camera gear. I probably will in the future, but for now I wanted to mention a particular item that has been an absolute game changer for me when it comes to content creation, and that's the Osmo Pocket from DJI, this awesome little portable camera setup which has massively improved the speed that I can make videos and happily spits out really crispy 4K footage at up to 120 frames per second. Now, as well as the slow-mo, the low light performance is equally stunning for a device this size. So I brought the Creator Combo Bundle, which comes with a bunch of goodies like this battery pack and a tripod, and also this wireless microphone which massively improves the audio quality if you're vlogging or maybe interviewing, for instance. It all connects wirelessly and it operates at a totally bonkers distance from the device. And honestly, if you're an aspiring content creator and you don't want to use your phone, you could easily make content with really great production values using just this little device which fits in your pocket. And moving on, I get to review quite a lot of chargers and battery packs, and to be honest, once you've seen one, you've kind of seen them all. So I wanted to pick out 3 for special mentions. Now the first one is this Anker charging cube which sits on my bedside table and lets me charge my phone, AirPods and Apple Watch each night quite happily, and then packs down neatly away when I don't need it. It is expensive though, and there are some cheaper alternatives available. Now in terms of other charging solutions, I generally have one go-to travel charger, which is this 3-in-1 from Enu. It comes with a lead, or you can just run power from any USB-C source. It folds away, fits right in the palm of your hand, and has the ability to charge my phone, earbuds and watch together without any issues with overheating or overcharging. Yeah, it's also 20% of the price of the Anker Cube charger too. The third charger I usually have with me is also from Enu, but it's their big boy. And this is what I have for like coffee shop working, or when we're away as a family and our kids need their devices charging up simultaneously, usually several times over. This is their latest release, and it now dishes out up to 140 watts to up to 3 devices at once. And because it has pass-through charging, you can also be recharging it at the same time that it's serving a charge to other devices. I also really like this display, which tells you how much you have left either to charge or remaining in the pack. For a 27,000 mAh battery bank, it's not too heavy either. Now I said I'd mention a couple of things that I 100% would not recommend, and there are 3 that spring to mind. Funnily enough, they're all pretty high value items. Now, the first one is Apple's AirPods Max. I picked these up in an airport tax-free shopping spree back in the summer, and whilst the audio quality and the noise cancelling is utterly great, they're just nowhere near the $550 price tag, especially when, in order to use them in the best possible way, you kind of had to retrofit a bunch of accessories in order to make them fit for purpose. Plus, a lot of the time I find myself reaching for my AirPods Pro Gen 2s, which are usually in my pocket and still serve up pretty respectable audio and have great noise cancelling too for less than half the price. Now I have been using the AirPods Max on video production gigs lately, where they do a nice job of monitoring camera audio, for example, but again, better and much cheaper options are available. Now the second thing is something I used to own, then sold, then bought again after we had a heat wave in the UK this summer. And if you've ever been on a Zoom call with me, you'll probably find it sat somewhere behind me. It's this massive bladeless fan from Dyson. Now this thing looks really striking, and it's got all kinds of clever tech built in to monitor things like allergens and pollution in the air, but to be honest, That's about it. As a fan, which is its primary job, it's pretty awful. You have to really crank it up high in order to get it to work effectively, which makes it incredibly loud and overbearing if you're trying to work or have any kind of conversation while it's on. As fans go, I'm not really a fan. On to number 3, it's the Logitech MX Mechanical. Now, if you saw my 3-way 75% low profile keyboard comparison earlier this year, you might remember I didn't have many nice things to say about it. I couldn't quite believe a company who made the world's best mouse was also responsible for one of the worst keyboard experiences I've ever had. But it's clearly popular, so who knows? I might try it again with some different switches next year to see if I can find out what on earth the appeal is beyond the monster battery life. There we go, folks. I'm interested to know, what was the best or worst piece of tech you've bought this year? Let me know down in the doobly-doo and pop the hashtag best worst in there to let me know you made it all the way to the end. One thing I'm really looking forward to next year is the release of Apple's new iPad mini. But if you're interested in how I use this every day over any other tablet, there's a video coming up for you in 3, 2,